We are at truly beautiful Yellow Springs Farm in Chester County, where we're with Catherine and Al Renzi, who operate this magnificent place. And we're here to learn about natural living, the cheeses they make, the way they have grown their farm within the community, and with being really, really beautiful towards the environment. Thank you so much for having us here. I look out this window, this door, on this rainy day, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful out there. How long have you been here?
We've been here almost 10 years. Soon after we were married, this is sort of a joint goal or dream we had to restore an old house and to participate in land conservation by donating a conservation easement on this old historic farmstead to preserve the land in perpetuity.
And tell us about the cheese farming that you do. And I probably put it wrong, but to me it's cheese farming.
That's a new word. We like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
It is cheese farming. We started this about 5 years ago, and we knew we wanted to have some kind of respect for the dairy farm that it used to be 150 years ago. And it's now too small to have cows, but it was big enough to have goats. So we started that about 5 years ago, and Catherine's funny, it's like eating potato chips, she says, that if you have one, you got to have another. And so we start breeding them, and now we're up to about 15 as of today, but in the next couple months we'll have about 30 after the kidding season is over. As far as the cheese is concerned, it was a natural evolution from having goats. Once you get a lot of milk, you need to do something with it. And we think we have great terroir here, and so it was a natural transition to take the milk and make some great cheeses with it, both fresh and aged.
Okay, and we have a tray of cheese here. I don't want to forget to show it, because you have found recipes from all over Europe that you make these wonderful goat milk cheeses, and you also have it's a CSA?
Yeah, we do have a CSA, which means community supported agriculture, where people can buy a share in the farm and get 12 unique cheese pickups throughout the season from May to November.
And now these are beautiful cheeses. It reminds me of when I went to Europe. Just while we have it here, tell us what these cheeses are.
Well, this little cheese here is what we call red leaf, and the way we make this, it's like a little hockey puck style cheese, and what we do is we wash it in red wine, and we wrap it in sycamore leaves that come from our farm. We have many sycamore leaves, and we age it for about 30 to 60 days. It has a beautiful natural rind to it. You get the flavor, the woodsiness of the sycamore trees, and also a bit of the wine taste in the cheese, and it's very creamy inside.
And let me smell. It smells so natural. It smells earthen, and yet you can still smell the cheese. It's beautiful.
The cheeses are aged in this old historic bank barn, and there's a cave built into the ground, so it's basically an underground room where the cheeses are aged. We're able to maintain temperatures in about 50 degrees and humidity about 85%.
Is it similar to aging wine in the sense of?
Similar. I think we need higher humidity than wine.
Yeah.
What's this cheese?
This cheese is called Spring Fever, for obvious reasons. We just
We're-
named that one.
Yeah, we're waiting
Notice
for
the
it.
weather, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is simply a very simple, it's really a peasant-style cheese. It's a natural rind cheese that's aged 60 days. And we really try to bring out the essence of the farm here. And basically what the goats are eating at the time is what ends up in the cheese.
Like honey.
Exactly.
Like honey.
So this is a winter milk cheese that comes of age when we all have spring fever.
So what else about the farm or the way you live would be green, environmental?
Well, several years ago we installed a solar panel, which accounts, well, I guess it saves us about 60% on our electric bill.
It's a 5 kilowatt system.
In the whole property or your main property? I mean,
The whole property.
the whole property, really?
Yeah.
With your business, first of all, here's your porch. What a beautiful view you have. You said this is your iced tea in the summer and hot coffee in the winter kind of porch, right?
It's more iced tea in the summer.
I see.
Yeah, we love this place at the end of the day during the season because we're usually pretty tired. We finish milking goats, and this is like a great respite for us to spend an hour here.
I can see. And you put in really long days. The goats have to be milked twice a day?
They do. So it's basically a 12-hour cycle for us. You know, we'll do it 7 in the morning and usually 6 o'clock at night again So our days start early and end pretty late.
Right. Plus, you know, we keep harping on the cheese and the goat business. I don't know why, because your natural plant business is bigger and more sustainable for you. How many hours a day is there a distinguish between the goats and what you have to put in your
Well, we
plant
really
business?
have to fit it all in. The goats seem to be the beginning and the end, and this year we'll be integrating the cheese making in 2 or 3 days a week. But you're right, we started out with the nursery business, and that's really the biggest part of what we do here on the farm, especially when we do design and installation work for clients off the farm. That takes a significant part of our time because we install rain gardens and meadows, and we restore woodlands as well.
Now, do you find that because it's an ecological business and people are planting naturally more, is that a growing business?
It is a growing business. I think we started, when we were just coming up the curve. The awareness of native plants was just really on the horizon about a decade ago. So we've really had the opportunity to really benefit from the increased awareness and people's interest in doing things environmentally friendly, sustainable, and now with the addition of the cheese, people are more interested in local foods as well. So
Your pond out here is that a natural pond or was that a reservoir pond? I mean,
it is a natural pond. It was a spring-fed pond.
It still is.
Okay.
Probably 150 years ago, that's where the cows got their water. So the farmers were very smart at that time to really dig the right holes, and they built the spring house. And in the spring house, it's actually a running spring. It's an active spring.
Really?
So they would cool the milk cans. They would put the milk, which was in cans, in the water in the spring house to cool it because it's very cool there.
that's cool. It's beautiful. Does it stock anything in it?
We do have grass carp in there, which is a kind of koi that helps keep the, there's a lot of duckweed that was on the pond when we arrived here. You really couldn't see the water at all. It was all like a sheet of green and full of algae. So by natural methods, we don't use any chemicals. We put the grass carp in, and then we plant it around the perimeter of the pond so it would catch the nutrients going down the hill. And by doing those two things, it really helped clear the pond up.
One of the things people should learn about native plants is that a typical butterfly or insect often will only have about 3 species would be average, 3 native plant species as active host plants for that butterfly or insect. And what that means is that if we lose one native plant species, we're also losing the insects and butterflies that relied on that species, and perhaps birds in some cases that eat the fruit. So the loss of a native plant species in the environment is really the loss of biodiversity.
Right.
One of the great use for native plants is rain gardens. You talked about runoff. We design and install rain gardens using native plant species, and we have a rain garden over on the other side of the house where we use the rain garden to slow stormwater runoff and to allow that water to infiltrate back into the ground through the plant roots. And the plant roots act to filter and process the pollutants and sediment that was in the stormwater, so we're returning cleaner water to the groundwater. We're excited to have donated the conservation easement on the land in 2001, so that will protect the land in perpetuity. The easement is held by the French and Pickering Creeks Conservation Trust. This is the Pickering Creek watershed, and that means that, long when we're compost, this property, the buildings, the trees, the land, the water will be protected by the conservation easement for future generations.
I have to go come back when I can see all your flowers, and the goats are adorable. So.
Well, we have our open house weekends May 8th and 9th and
Okay.
May 22nd and 23rd for this year, so we hope you'll come back. By then the plants will be in bloom and our demonstration gardens will look like we hope they will.
Well, I'm sure they will. And we want to thank Catherine and Al so much for hosting us. We could go on forever with this place. It's a charming, wonderful place that they've created within Chester County, within our environment. That's really, they said it's their dream. Well, it's helped us all. Thank you so much.